Your future was altered before you even realized you made a decision. Your brain is biologically hardwired to privately sabotage you, and it is happening right now. Your future may have been altered before you even realized you made a decision. Not because of fate, and not because of luck, but because your brain is biologically hardwired to protect you from danger even when that danger doesn't actually exist. Scientists at the Max Planck Institute discovered that your brain processes microdecisions in just 200 milliseconds before your conscious mind is even aware of them. Within that fraction of a second, a silent chemical cascade can permanently alter your life path. Every missed opportunity, every dream postponed, and every road you never walked may have started with this single, hidden emotion, fear. What nobody expected is that the human brain treats a delayed decision exactly like a physical predator, locking you in place while convincing you that you are simply being strategic. Who is really making your choices? Everyone assumes that fear looks like panic, like a fast heart rate or cold sweat. The evidence says otherwise. In 1998, psychologist Dr. Gary Klein studied emergency room commanders and found that the most dangerous form of fear is actually comfortable. It is the soothing voice telling you to wait until next year. But here is the strange part: your brain releases dopamine when you plan a project, but none when you actually execute it. This creates a psychological trap. You feel highly productive while doing absolutely nothing. The story becomes even more concerning when we look at how this loop alters your biology. We assume staying safe protects our energy, but neuroscience shows it actually shrinks the prefrontal cortex over time. What if your caution is actually a slow-acting neurotoxin? In January 1975, a 24-year-old engineer named Steven Sasson invented the world's first digital camera at Kodak. It was the size of a toaster and took 23 seconds to record an image. Yet, when he presented it to the executive board, they didn't reject it because it was bad. They rejected it because they were terrified it would threaten their highly profitable physical film business. Records confirmed the board chose to delay the technology to protect their current profits. They convinced themselves that the timing wasn't right. But that's not the strangest part. By the time they decided they were finally ready to face the digital transition in 2012, the market had completely vanished, forcing a multi-billion-dollar empire into bankruptcy. Who is writing your timeline? Let us look at the precise mechanism of avoidance. In 2014, researchers at the University of Calgary mapped the exact neural pathway of procrastination. They expected to find a lack of self-discipline or poor time management skills. Instead, they discovered an emotional regulation failure located deep within the amygdala. The brain perceives your future self as a complete stranger. When you delay a difficult conversation or postpone starting a business, your brain is literally dumping the emotional stress onto someone else. But wait. That stranger is still you, just 24 hours older. No one saw what came next. By treating your future self as a separate entity, you slowly degrade your own empathy, making your comfort zone feel like a fortress when it is actually a cage. Consider the life of Clara Lemlich in 1911. Surrounded by hostile factory owners and corrupt police, she did not wait for the perfect moment to organize. She stood up in a packed hall and called for a strike of 20,000 workers. She did not hesitate because hesitation is a learned physical habit. Every time you open a tab to search for an answer and then close it out of mild anxiety, you are training your nervous system to retreat. Hypotheses suggest that this micro-retreat pattern occurs up to 50 times a day in the modern digital workspace. But here is the strange part: you do not feel the loss of these tiny moments. You only feel the cumulative weight 10 years later when the gap between who you are and who you could have been becomes a canyon. We are taught to measure the risk of our actions, but we rarely calculate the compounding cost of our inaction. In 1997, a small online bookseller offered to license its delivery system to traditional retail giants for a fraction of their current operating costs. The retailers refused, fearing the unknown digital landscape. That bookseller was Amazon. The consequence of that single, quiet refusal changed the face of global commerce forever. The leading theory among behavioral economists is that humans suffer from status quo bias, meaning we find a known bad situation preferable to an unknown good one. But that is not the strangest part. By choosing the safety of the status quo, you are not actually keeping things the same. You are actively decaying while the world moves past you. When was the last time you felt truly ready for a major life transition? The honest answer is never. In 1928, Alexander Fleming left a petri dish unattended in his cluttered London laboratory. He returned to find a strange mold killing his bacteria culture. Had he waited for a perfectly sterile, clean environment to conduct his research, he would have never discovered penicillin. He embraced the messy, uncertain reality of the moment. But wait. Modern psychology shows that we constantly delay action because we are waiting for a feeling of confidence that only actually arrives after the action is already completed. The story becomes even more counterintuitive. Confidence is not the cause of action, it is the side effect of it. Why are you waiting? What happens to an idea that is never expressed? In 1858, Alfred Russel Wallace formulated the theory of evolution by natural selection while shivering with malaria on a remote Indonesian island. He drafted his ideas on a single sheet of paper. But instead of publishing, he hesitated, fearing public backlash and academic ruin. Meanwhile, Charles Darwin had been sitting on the exact same theory for 20 years, paralyzed by the same deep fear of social exile. Everything changed when Wallace sent his draft to Darwin, forcing both men to finally confront their terror and publish simultaneously. Their shared hesitation almost erased one of the greatest scientific breakthroughs in human history. How many revolutionary ideas are currently dying in silence inside your own mind? Every time you tell yourself you will start tomorrow, you make a promise you secretly know you will break. In 2002, researchers at Harvard University tracked the goal-setting habits of over 2,000 professionals. They found that 92% of New Year's resolutions fail by January 15th. But here is the strange part: the participants did not feel bad about failing. They felt a sense of relief. The brain experiences a neurochemical reward simply by deciding to delay a difficult task, meaning you are literally getting high off your own excuses. What nobody expected is that this cycle creates a profound self-distrust. Your subconscious begins to view your own voice as an unreliable narrator, slowly destroying your confidence from the inside out. In the year 2000, the founder of a tiny DVD mail service met with the CEO of Blockbuster to offer his company for $50 million. The CEO reportedly laughed him out of the room, believing the physical retail model was completely invincible. That tiny startup was Netflix. Blockbuster did not fail because they lacked resources or smart executives. They failed because they were terrified of cannibalizing their own successful brick-and-mortar stores. This is the tragic paradox of success. The very habits that make you successful today are often the ones that make you obsolete tomorrow. The evidence confirms that fear of temporary discomfort is the primary cause of organizational and personal extinction. What comfortable habit is currently blinding you to your own future? Every human being reading this script lives with two distinct versions of themselves. There is the person you are today, shaped by every small compromise, every postponed phone call, and every comfortable delay. And there is the person you could have been, built on a foundation of micro-courageous decisions made in moments when you felt completely unprepared. The distance between these two people is not measured in miles or years. It is measured in the decisions you are currently avoiding. Observation shows that those who regret their lives at the very end rarely focus on the projects that failed. They focus almost exclusively on the doors they never walked through because they convinced themselves the timing wasn't right. We treat time as if it is an infinite resource waiting for us to get ready. But time does not announce when it is leaving. It simply leaves. In 1912, the polar explorer Robert Falcon Scott died in his tent just 11 miles from his supply depot because he delayed his departure by a few crucial days to avoid bad weather. His diary, recovered months later, revealed he was waiting for a safer window that never arrived. This documentary was never really about fear. It was about how you choose to spend your attention before it runs out. The ordinary decisions you make today are the only authorship you have over an uncertain future. The story of your life is being written right now, in this exact second.